Broadcasting live from the digital state-of-the-art studios at Dean College. This is WGAO Franklin, Massachusetts. Power 88. Southeastern New England's hottest rock. All day long.
Good morning. You are listening to the Alex Feuz Show, bringing you all of the news, sports debates, interviews with people you all care about, and so much more. Every single weekday on Dean College Power 88 Radio, broadcasting live from 7 to 8 a.m. And now, here's your host, Alex Feuz.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, I am your host, Alex Feuz, and we will be bringing you up until the 8 o'clock hour today on the Alex Feuz Show. And joining me live in the studio is our co-anchor today is George Hathaway, a first-year student here at Dean College, and we have a great show planned out for you today. We'll be talking about the rest of the baseball season. Things are wrapping up this weekend. This is your last shot to go down to Fenway. It's the Red Sox taking on the Baltimore Orioles. And then also we have some playoff baseball starting up next week, which everyone is talking about. It's going to be interesting to see the matchups that we see. Again, we have a lot of different things that have to happen before we get to see potentially a Yankees-Astros matchup. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. The best pitching going up against the best offense in baseball. That's the possibility. Another possibility in the National League would have to be the Braves going up against the Dodgers. Everyone wants that matchup as well. Or the Nationals as well, kind of sneaking their way through in the American League wild card game. That's going to be an interesting matchup, whether it's the Athletics going up against the Rays or the Athletics going up against the Indians. Again, another interesting matchup that a lot of people are talking about. We'll also be talking about our top 5 news headlines of the day. There's some interesting ones out there. A lot of news on this Friday. Again, the Super Bowl halftime show was announced yesterday, and we'll talk about who's performing at the halftime show. Again, we'll be talking about a new airport that possibly people will be tracking their ways through to travel the world as well. And there's an interesting story about a plane that people will have to be interested in as well. And we also have a in-studio interview with the head coach here at Dean College, Coach Steve Tirrell. He'll be joining us live in the studios in about 30 minutes, so stay tuned for that. Again, homecoming weekend this weekend here at the Dean College campus and throughout college students all around. You know, if you're listening to the show and if you know, when you went to college, homecoming is such a great time, isn't it, George? This is your first homecoming here at Dean, but isn't homecoming, I mean, this is your first one, but I mean, you've had homecoming at your high school, right?
Yes, I mean, I did have homecoming at high school, and it was always a great event. You know, everyone, all the students, we came together. We had a great time at the football games, good time at other events that happened at school, and I can feel that atmosphere here as well at Dean. I feel like there's going to be a great turnout for the football game. I mean, I'm going to be color commentating the football game, so I won't be in the stands, but I mean, I'll definitely see people. My family's going to be coming up.
Oh, awesome.
So I mean, bingo's this weekend too.
Yes, tomorrow night in the campus center. I can't wait for that. I love bingo, and I actually might be able to get to play bingo tomorrow night.
Oh, that's great. I mean, bingo's a great game to play. It's one of those classic games that just will never get old. And I mean, what do we have, prizes too?
Yeah, we got so much Dean merchandise tomorrow. I know we worked with alumni relations as well, so we got some cool stuff for alumni that may be joining us as well. So again, overall, I'm super excited for. And then tonight here at Dean, we have movie night, Toy Story 4 tonight in the Science Building. So again, it's a great weekend here at Dean and all around college campus, because this is the time where homecoming is happening all over the country. So again, this is an exciting time of year. So be sure to tweet at us at WGAO Power 88 and the Alex Feuz Show on Twitter, and you can tell us about your favorite homecoming story, and we love to hear it and talk about it on the show today. But once again, George, let's send it over to you and check in on the train traffic and weather updates this morning. It's a Friday, so people are probably going to be out there, right, George?
Oh, yeah, no. You can already see it in the traffic report. A lot of people heading into Boston, Brocktown. I mean, it has a lot of traffic, as well as Framingham, and even Brookline and Newton as well. But, I mean, if we come back to our area, there's not a lot of traffic unless you're in the Mansfield area. But other than that, Franklin itself is just clear traffic. There's not much going on so far in the streets. But if we look at the T right now, the red line, there's going to be a bus shuttle that's going to replace a T line starting November 16th to December 15th, which is a big deal so far for the train news. And if you look at the orange line, there's going to be no orange line train service between Sullivan and Tufts Medical Center over 6 weekends, starting the 4th of October, which is next weekend, going into November 10th as well. And then if you look at the Green Line B from October 25th through October 27th, only for a weekend, the bus shuttle will replace the B line for the Green Line train. And if you look at Green Line C, more bus shuttles are replacing services from Cleveland Circle to St. Mary Street, starting the 27th and ending the 29th of September. And if you look at the weather right now, it's currently 50 degrees out. Going to be a high of 73 throughout the day, and then it's going to start cooling off towards the evening. But if you look at the weekend looks nice, especially for homecoming this weekend, Alex. Saturday, high of 78, nice sunny skies, as well as Sunday. It's going to drop down a little bit, but it's going to be in the mid-70s, and then we start Monday off in the high 60s.
This is perfect fall weather. It's a little warm. Mid-70s is still that perfect fall weather. I know my rant of the day to start off the show this week on Monday was the first day of fall was September 23rd, and it was 87 degrees. That's not fall weather.
No, it's not at all. It's like a June kind of weather, and we're in September.
Maybe first day of summer.
Yeah.
Not fall.
No, not fall at all. When you think of fall, you think of 60s, low 70s, and I mean, honestly, Monday was a great day. It was a nice day for shorts, t-shirt. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we're in September. I don't want that summer weather right now, especially
almost
when I'm
in
at
October
school.
now.
Yeah.
I mean, Monday is the last day of September, so we're almost into October, which is crazy. September flew by.
No, it really did. I mean, it felt like we got here early September, and now we're practically a month into school, and time flies though when you're having fun.
So we'll switch gears now and quickly talk about this story that if you're a sports fan, and especially a baseball fan, you probably heard about this. Again, the Red Sox took on the Texas Rangers on Thursday night, and Mike Minor, a pitcher for the Texas Rangers, got his 200th strikeout this season as the Rangers defeated the Red Sox 7-5 to avoid a sweep. So this is an interesting story. So Mike Minor finally got the 200th strikeout he wanted so badly on a borderline pitch right after the Texas Rangers purposely let a foul pop drop in the 9th inning. He said, "It's just an accomplishment that I was looking at this past offseason of wanting to improve on this year," Minor said after the Rangers beat the Red Sox. And then later on, it said, everyone was yelling, and I heard a lot of drop it, so I had to drop it, Guzman said, one of the players on the Rangers. And he said, "I didn't love the idea that we dropped the pop-up at the end, but on the other side of that, they swung at 3 pitches in a row in the 8th inning, down by 2," Rangers manager Chris Woodward said. So basically what happened was the Red Sox knew, maybe not right away, but I think the Rangers knew that Mike Minor was just a few strikeouts away from getting his 200th season strikeout. And that's a huge accomplishment from him. And they're talking about now, Alex Cora kind of gave the death stare over to the Rangers dugout once the home plate umpire called it a strike 3 when the pitch was a little high out of the zone to get his 200th strikeout. And they're calling it a phony strikeout. And they're even saying that strikeout should be with an asterisk. And look, at the end of the day, both of these two teams are out of playoff contention.
Yes.
Their season ends when the regular season ends. So at the end of the day, you have to be kind of selfish if you're a player on these teams. You are chasing the records that you want to have. And at the end of the day, I can't blame Mike Minor for wanting to get to 200. At the end of it, these games don't matter anymore.
Right, they don't. I mean, it's a great accomplishment for Minor. 200 strikeouts, that's a lot. And like you said, both teams aren't going to the playoffs, so it's not like this game really matters as much to them because it's just kind of they're playing now just to play. They're not playing with a purpose to go into the postseason. And yes, I thought it was a little bit cocky. I saw this last night. It was a little bit cocky by the Rangers to do something like this. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're playing the Red Sox, so might as well just get that 200 strikeout.
Well, and that's the thing. And again, these games don't matter. And I guess you're going to have to complain about something. I think both of these two teams are frustrated. The Rangers were pretty much sitting at 500 for the majority of the season. So they were kind of at the brink of getting over the hill and just never did. And then the Red Sox have struggled all season long to stay consistent. And that's one of the major things that they just didn't do. And I can see where both sides are coming from. But I think the manager of the Rangers, Chris Woodward, has a great point. Because if you look back at the 8th inning, the Red Sox were swinging at pitches that you should not be swinging at. So at the end of the day, you're going to complain about one pitch that got him the 200 strikeout, but you're not going to talk about, maybe in the 8th inning when my players are swinging at pitches in the dirt to make him look foolish. That's what we're going to talk about. That's the thing. You have to kind of play on both sides, and that's just one thing that's sticking out most to make the situation look a little different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an excuse by Cora pretty much. I mean, he's just kind of trying to find any way to not make his team look worse than it already is. I mean, if you're swinging at pitches that you learn in, the minor leagues or in high school or college to not swing at, I mean, you can't do that in the professionals, especially at this day and age in baseball as it is right now. I mean, you just can't be swinging at, things that are in the dirt or things that are too high, right? You have to know that as a player, and if that's what the Red Sox were doing all night, just terrible swinging, I mean, might as well get Minor to 200 strikeouts because they practically handed it to him by just terrible swinging.
Coming up next, we got our top 5 news headlines of the day. We're talking about an airport, a plane, and what national holiday is it? Coming up next here on Power 88.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Parents make all kinds of choices about their child.
Welcome back to Power 88 Radio, broadcasting live from Dean College. That's an interesting commercial.
We were listening to it, and we were over here laughing. We were looking at each other laughing.
I put that in, and some of these are new, and I don't remember hearing that one from last year, but that's an interesting one. That one's funny.
It was funny. It was.
That was a good one. That one of my favorite things is hearing these funny commercials, and this is actually going to, go right into our next topic. Top 5 news headlines of the day. This is one of my favorite segments on the show. If you're not a football fan, you watch the Super Bowl no matter what. And
right.
Speaking of funny commercials, it's the Super Bowl we're talking about. And the Super Bowl is an event unlike any other. Sure, you got college football, March Madness, that's a spectacle unlike no other.
Right.
You got playoff baseball, that's a spectacle like no other. Then you also have the Super Bowl. And there's a show within a show called the Halftime Show. And this year, it was just announced yesterday that J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, and Shakira are set to perform at this upcoming Super Bowl halftime show. I'm excited for this.
I am too. I mean, they're both phenomenal singers. I definitely listen to them, I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, it also is bringing that Miami vibe to the Super Bowl. And I think that's what the NFL is trying to do, is try to bring these hometown artists to wherever the Super Bowl location is. And that's what they did last year with Atlanta, but it wasn't as well put together as a lot of people wanted it to be. And, I mean, it was a little bit of a disappointment, the halftime show last year. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I thought it was a little bit disappointment.
It's kind of sad. It was Maroon 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Travis Scott.
Yeah. I think it took me a second to remember who the halftime show was last year. So I think that kind of says it right there. I can't remember the last good halftime show we had. I would have to say maybe Lady Gaga That was a good one.
Katy Perry, I thought.
Katy Perry was great.
Perry was good too.
You know, that was classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough, you know, to talk about. I mean, there was another good one, but it's so. I think Beyonce that was from a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
You know, almost 10 years, I think. So I can't exactly remember. And then they had, who did they have? It was Coldplay one year, right?
I don't remember. I mean, if it was good, I would have remembered it.
That's the thing. So this is kind of the first time in a long time where we've had a halftime show that people are excited about. You know, we were talking about the halftime Maroon 5. You know, where do they get Maroon 5 from? So again, this is a perfect matchup, and I'm excited for it. And again, Todd Kaplan, who's Pepsi's vice president of marketing, said in a statement, "These two remarkable artists are setting a new precedent for what this show can become, and we're confident that this will be an incredible performance for the ages." And again, it goes like what you said, George, where it brings that Miami vibe to it. And I think they could really set the tone for the Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, if you have a good halftime show and a good football game, that's must-see TV.
It is. I mean, look at last year, right? You didn't have the best halftime show last year with Maroon 5, Travis Scott. And there's some other guy there too. I don't know his name.
Well, they had SpongeBob.
I thought that was pretty much the highlight of the entire game. Actually, was SpongeBob.
Right, and they were supposed to have more of it too, right?
Yeah, and
but
I don't know why they cut it. Honestly, I was a little disappointed in that. I mean, I'm a kid growing up watching SpongeBob. I mean, I would have loved to have seen that, but I mean, people didn't really like the game last year. And the halftime show was really supposed to be that thing that would bring the game back, bring the game together, and bring viewers to say, oh, wow, you know what, this was actually a good game. I mean, regardless, our team won, so we weren't really complaining, but it just wasn't overall, I mean, a high-scoring game is what people thought it was. It was a great defensive game, but still. And I think you're right. This could set a precedent for future Super Bowl halftime shows, having these two, you know, great female stars out there, and it would definitely start setting the tone for better halftime shows that in the future. And I was reading the article, and you know, Rock Nation and Jay-Z, I mean, they're producing it as well, because Jay-Z has this thing with the NFL now. So I think by having Jay-Z and Rock Nation there, I mean, Jay-Z's a big performing artist. He's very well known, and he makes a lot of money as well. So he's very successful with it too. And by having him there, he can definitely help the NFL should do for future Super Bowl halftime events. Yeah,
no, and again, Jennifer Lopez has been in the news a lot over the last year and a half, 2 years. Again, she's engaged to Alex Rodriguez, one of the most talked about names in the sports world in the last 10 years, good and bad.
Right.
And you know, everyone, you know, she keeps making appearances on Sunday Night Baseball because, you know, Alex Rodriguez is a broadcaster for ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. So she's always making appearances on there. So she's just all over the place. So again, this goes back to J-Lo is getting up there in age, but she's still one of the most prominent female artists in the industry. So you have to give it to her.
Yeah, no, you do. And I think I don't know if I'm reading this right here, but I mean, she just celebrated her 50th birthday. So, I mean, she's up there in age, but still she's, you know, looking great, and she's performing well. I mean, I think she had a concert in Connecticut, from where I am from, and I don't know, I saw a lot of videos and it looked great. I mean, she can still like perform well. She can still do everything great. So I think with that, I mean, and Shakira too. I mean, they're both great artists, and they're both great performers too. So they know how to put on a show as well. And I think that's what more people are leaning towards when it comes to the halftime show.
Headline number 4 is massive airport with the world's largest terminal opens in Beijing. And listen to this, George. This airport in Beijing is designed to handle 72 million passengers a year. It's located on the capital's south side. It was built in less than 5 years at a cost of $17 billion.
That is huge. I mean, you look at the airports around us, and, you know, JFK, people are like, oh my gosh, JFK, right? Or Logan. But you go to like Europe or the Middle East or anywhere there for like vacation, you go to their airports are huge. I was in Istanbul for like a little bit over the summer, and I went to their airport. It was huge. It was like a shopping mall. They had a shopping mall inside the airport, and they had like, Louis Vuitton and like all these very expensive and nice stores. And that's not what you see here in America. And this airport is 30 miles south of downtown Beijing, 4 runways, and they have room for 3 more. I mean, that's a pretty big airport when it comes to the size, the capacity, and like the amount of planes that it can hold. And you don't really see that in America.
No, and the terminal is being billed as the largest in the world, measuring an estimated 11 million square feet.
Wow. I mean, you can't wrap your head around how big it's going to be. I mean,
No.
You'd have to go see it in person if you really want to.
I just want to fly there.
Yeah, might as well.
And then just come back.
And then come back.
I mean, I could spend like a vacation there, but I'm not rich.
Yeah,
but,
I know. Yes.
So, I mean, I would love to just see it in person and be there. I mean, you could always make that a vacation.
Yeah,
at that point.
Practically the airport is a vacation, and hopefully they have some nice hotels in there. I mean, most airports do have hotels, so hopefully it does have something nice in there. If I want to stay there a night, then might as well go to a very nice, not expensive, but a luxury hotel there.
You might as well. You're already there. So, but again, I'm interested to see if this is the world that we're going into. If you always need a first, and then everyone's always like, I got to be better than that. You always see that in news. When skyscrapers were a thing, you have the tallest building in the world, and then someone's like,
Right.
I got to build a taller one.
Right.
And then you get into a competition with, I need to build it bigger and better, and it's going to be interesting to see what's next that follows this one. It only takes one to really start a movement.
It definitely does. And like you said, someone's going to want to do bigger and better. They want to just, kind of trump the competitor. So, you have this one in Beijing, and then what's next? Are we going to see one in Hong Kong or, somewhere else? And it's going to be interesting to see how much people kind of look towards, oh, I want to go to this airport because it's nicer, rather than let's go to this airport, it's more convenient. So I guess it's going to come down to kind of people going to want to go to the bigger ones rather than the ones that, are better for their travel, better for their like safety or whatever, right? And hopefully that this airport, since it's one of the largest ones in the world, or will be the largest one in the world, it should be, convenient for everybody. And hopefully, if not, that would be a little bit of disappointment. But
Well, since we're on the topic of airports, headline number 3, United Airlines is back in the news with another bad story if you're their PR head of public relations for them. A United flight, and this is like what nightmares are made of.
oh yeah, they are.
United flight diverted to free passenger trapped in the plane bathroom. Did you see this story?
Yeah, and I was reading it a little bit before the show and looking at it, and I was just shaking my head. I was like, see, like for me, when I travel, I try not to get up from my seat in the airplane. Like,
Yeah.
Airplanes, they don't make me nervous as much as they used to, but I still like, I don't unbuckle my seatbelt. Like, I just stay in that same position.
You're locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in, and then that's where I am. And I don't get up. I don't go to the bathroom, no matter how bad I have to. I will hold it in because I don't want to get, like, this person, I don't want to get trapped. I don't want to get trapped, or, something happened to me in the bathroom where something happens and like we hit turbulence or whatever.
I think we all know what you mean, George.
Yeah. So I don't know, like that for me is just a scary thing to happen. And I don't know how like this person got out or how they I don't know, they pry the door open. I'm pretty sure those doors are like very secure for like certain reasons, safety reasons. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very scary to be trapped inside something in like an airport or even on a plane as well, because just knowing that feeling like you're stuck in something on a plane and there's not much you can do about it or not much other people can do about it until you land, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, they said the lavatory door became inoperative during flight. from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco, according to a United Airlines statement. A female passenger was trapped inside. It said in Denver, the passenger was safely removed from the laboratory after landing. They had to do an emergency landing just for this. And customers have since continued on to their destination on a new aircraft, the airline said. And someone put on Twitter, they go, "We're just working on opening up the door at the moment." This is a quote from the technicians. "We'll get you out soon." And then they said, then from United Airlines Twitter, they said, "We are reaching out to all customers on board and the customer in the laboratory to apologize." And the airline didn't immediately respond to questions about possible kind of just like a refund on their money for being trapped in the bathroom. But that's what nightmares are made of, folks.
It is.
Being trapped in an in a plane bathroom.
Yeah, it's a scary thing.
Headline number 2, we talked about it earlier this week about the famous dog robot that is now for sale, George. And I think you were here that day that we talked about this, is that it's now going to be upwards of more expensive than a car to rent this robot dog. But now the robot that was made famous on YouTube that we talked about, the animal-like robot that started out as a military-funded research project, now might be shipped off to the circus instead of the battlefield.
That's interesting. I think it's, you think of robots and then everyone thinks of, them turning against you, right? I mean, I'm not conspiracizing anything right now, but I mean, it's going to be expensive. And if it's more expensive than a car, I mean, people have to prioritize like what they want. Do you want a robot dog or do you want a car, right? I mean, if you have that kind of money, then you can just spend it on a robot dog. But I mean, honestly, I'd rather have a real dog than a robot dog. Well,
and that's the thing. And I said, earlier this week, if you're going to spend upwards of, $20,000+ to rent a robot dog, go to your local animal shelter and save a dog's life.
Exactly. I mean, I love, I have a dog at home and we adopted her. And there's no better feeling than, impacted a life of an animal because someone didn't want them for, X, Y, Z. But you do because you're going to love that animal no matter what. And it's a really humbling feeling to adopt a dog. And so I say people should adopt a dog rather than going to a breeder and buy one.
It's special. It has more meaning to it. I feel you care more about the dog. And, both of the dogs I have back home are rescue dogs from our, a foundation that saves dogs' lives. And we say, as a family, we're never, we're going to always rescue dogs because you always hear about the stories and everything. And it's so sickening.
It is. It can be, especially what people have done to the dog or if it's abusive or if it was lost in a hurricane or something like that. Because I've had experience with dogs who I've met that have been lost in hurricanes or whatever, right? Have no home and lost their families because of certain things, and it's a great feeling to have a dog that you care about that nobody else would.
Yeah, and we'll finish up this segment and go to the last headline of the day, and this is one that we always talked about every day: is what national day is it today? It's National Chocolate Milk Day. So I'm not a huge milk fan, but I do like chocolate milk.
Okay.
So I do like chocolate milk. So today is National Chocolate Milk Day. Yesterday was National Pancake Day.
Oh, yeah. No, you saw, I had some good pancakes last night for dinner.
It almost looked like Buddy the Elf style pancakes.
Yes, you saw a picture of my pancakes, and I put so much candy on it. I put a lot of whipped cream, M&Ms, chocolate chips, everything. Whole 9 yards.
But there's nothing better than a good homemade glass of chocolate milk.
No, I love chocolate milk. It's honestly my favorite beverage. Do you have a favorite chocolate milk brand?
I kind of just go old school, get a regular milk and then put the Hershey's syrup in it. And there's nothing better than that. I'm not a huge milk fan, but you have to go old school.
Yeah, no, I like the Hershey's chocolate syrup, and then you just stir it around for a few seconds, and then
it's good to go.
Yeah. And it's convenient, it's quick, and chocolate milk's amazing. It's my favorite It's my favorite drink.
Yep. But coming up next, we have the head coach here at Dean College, Coach Steve Tirrell, join us live in studio. So stay tuned for that coming up right next. You're on Power 88, broadcasting live from Dean College.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, tail-wagging, backyard-hanging, and, of course, companionship.
And what breed would you say Satchmo is?
I'd have to go with maybe a lavish terrier-hound chihuahua-looking kind of mix.
Tremendous dog.
I'd also like to point out Satchmo's coloring, a white, gray, brown, black brindle, simply marvelous.
You know, it's such a treat to watch a dog like this.
Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive. And now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance, so common with this group.
And finally, the loving face lick.
It's great how he just gets in there and, well, licks.
Fantastic. But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit the
Welcome back here to the Alex Feuz Show at 7:33. We're joined now live in the studio from the head coach here for the head football team, Coach Steve Tirrell. So, Coach, thanks again for joining us this morning. Big weekend, homecoming weekend. There's so many events happening on campus. It's one of my favorite weekends here at Dean. It's my second homecoming as a student here at Dean College. So, first question for you, what's been one of your biggest challenges that you've had to face this season?
Sure, Alex. Appreciate you having us on this morning. I don't know. That's a good question. We've really the biggest challenge is we face some really good competition here at the start of our year. Right, we play a really tough out of conference schedule, and settling our defense down obviously and has been probably the biggest challenge that we've had to face. As a team, is getting our defense settled and eliminating our mistakes. And when you look at us, the one thing that's really it's glaring at us right now is our turnover ratio. Right, we're a -8 after 3 games, and it's tough. There's not many teams out there in the country that are going to be a -8 and have a winning record. Never mind the struggles that we've had. So, the turnovers have put the defense in some tough situations. It's a young group of guys, and getting them all in the right places and making sure that we're doing the right things as coaches to allow them to be successful. So that's really been our biggest challenge, especially this week.
What kind of adversity would you say you've had to overcome this particular season?
Yeah, it's really been the turnovers, right? The turnovers and the breakdowns in the kicking game. Not being able to punt the football successfully. Especially in the opener when we come out of a halftime and we're winning the football game, and we throw a pick and then they go right in and score. We get them in a 4th down and we get a big penalty and bang, they're in the end zone. And then we turn around and they stop us and we go to punt the ball and we snap it into the end zone. And then it's a spiraling effect. And we haven't shown that we're a mature enough group to handle those situations yet. And that's what we're working towards.
Big weekend, a big matchup tomorrow. What's been one of the biggest pieces of advice you're telling the first-year students that have never really been? This is one of be the biggest crowds, and you're talking about the matureness factor of that. It's going to be a big crowd. How are you going to allow the players to kind of put the noise out of their head playing in front of a big crowd here at Dean?
Sure. For the younger players, a lot of them, that was their first time ever seeing Lippert Field last Saturday. Mm-hmm. So just to actually see what a beautiful environment it is, what a great game day environment that we put on for the students here. And then it's really for us, we gotta embrace the excitement of the day and the crowd, but we gotta really be focused on what's going on in the field. And even though, it didn't reflect it in our score on the defensive side, I thought with all that went on in that game, we did remain focused on, we didn't have a lot of breakdowns where we lost our poise out there. We were a pretty focused group for a young group of guys, and that's got to be even more so this weekend with all the fans around us and the excitement and all the things that are going to go on there. We're going to really embrace that excitement and use that to our advantage in our home field.
What's your favorite thing about homecoming?
It's everything. I've been 30 years of college football in my life, and homecoming is always the excitement. We had some past players come join us at practice yesterday, which was great. I've had other players reach out. They're just excited to come back. And the more and more we've transitioned into being a 4-year college, that's just going to continue to grow. And it's just that excitement of the past and the present all coming together, and all for the common cause of being at a place where they have such a great emotional tie to, and just being excited to be a part of such an event and seeing friends and all those things. It's just that fun type of an atmosphere.
You've kind of had a different experience as a college football coach, especially here, because you kind of came in right when Dean was going into that 4-year program with the NCAA Division III. What's been one of your biggest, favorite moments about being here through the transfer up until now where we are today?
So one of the reasons why I came here was the ultimate challenge, right? It was to take a program through a transition, one that hadn't really been done very successfully throughout any place else you've ever looked at. So for us, it's a matter of, for me personally, it was a matter of taking on that challenge and coming out and being successful in the end. And that transition is still in the process. One of the things I love about being here is the people. I'm going to tell you, this school has a lot of great people that work here. And that comes out every day. It's, we have the saying, everybody knows it's the Dean difference. But it's really when you go over across the street or upstairs and in the administrative buildings, there are some really great people here to work with, and that makes it a pretty special place.
How would you define a Dean difference?
That's a great question. There's, that's that ultimate tricky question, but it's that personalized experience for the student here, right? I mean, we put a lot of emphasis and a lot of effort into our students, especially our student athletes, and having a great personalized experience here.
I mean, it's just the saying the Dean difference is so vague, but it means so much. You ask anyone here, they have a different meaning to it, and that's why I always like asking people, what's the meaning for the Dean difference? Because everyone has a different college experience. Whether you're a student athlete, whether you're involved in student activities or theater or dance, communications, whatever it may be, you have a different college experience, but there's so much meaning to what you do here, especially at Dean. And definitely going forward, what's one of the most things that you're looking forward to after starting tomorrow going forward this season for you?
Well, for me, this is our transition into our conference schedule. And, I think of all the teams, and us and Keene are pretty well matched up. I mean, when you look at the stats and you break down the start of their season and the start of our season, this is a game. It's a homecoming event. It's a game where I feel that we've had a great week of practice on, and it's a good turning point for us. And then we're going to go into our bye week, and we're going to really go back to work on our fundamentals and our approach and our game here. And then we're going to get into the conference schedule. And our goal this year, our ultimate goal, is to come out and win the conference. And so that's the direction we're headed. That's what we wanted to prove this year. That we finished third last year. And we feel we're a better football team, and we're going to show that, down the stretch in the last 5 weeks of our season.
Coach Tirrell, this is one of my favorite segments on the show. It's called the Fast Five Quick Round, and you have a long to take to answer these questions. I know you're a big NFL guy, big Pats fan as well. Favorite NFL stadium?
Favorite NFL? I'll tell you, it's hard to beat Gillette. I'll tell you that. Now, I haven't had a chance. I've been to a lot more college stadiums than I have professional, so I have to be honest with you there. But my favorite place is to go right down the road 20 minutes and watch a football game right in our backyard with our home team. So,
Go-to snack?
Go-to snack for me? Anything with chocolate on it, unfortunately.
Do you like chocolate milk? It's National Chocolate Milk Day.
I heard it was Chocolate Milk Day. I probably, in my younger days, my little guy's a big chocolate milk guy. I'm more of that. Give me a salty, chocolatey snack, and I'm a happy man.
Favorite sports movie?
That's a good one. There's a couple there that ring a bell, but I'm gonna tell you, since I was a young guy, Hoosiers has been a big favorite movie. The way Gene Hackman played that role and some of the moments in that movie are always sit in my heart and forever will be my favorite. But Denzel and the characters he's played, there's been some really good ones, but Hoosiers is the number one.
favorite music? What does Coach T like to listen to?
You know, if you would not believe my playlist if you heard it on my phone. But since I've been here, I've turned, and my older son and I have kind of gone down the country road a little bit more than we have in the past. But I have a pretty broad mix. Go back to some of that '80s rap all the way to some Black Sabbath in the early days to AC/DC and beyond. So, yeah, it's a pretty good mix of music.
If you could pick anyone from the NFL to coach, who would you love to coach?
Who would I love to coach? That's a great question. I think I'd love to coach Tom Brady because he'd make me one heck of a good coach, wouldn't he? I think that's one thing that in the coaching profession, I'm trying to get my younger coaches to understand, especially here in college football and recruiting. The better your players are, the better you become as a football coach. You really do. It goes hand in hand.
Coach Tirrell, my last question for you. Every time I talk to you, the passion of the game of football shines through. So what continues to drive your passion for the game that you work around every single day?
That's a good question. The game of football has given me everything I have in my life, right? It drove me toward my education. And, I just finished my master's this past year, and that was a great accomplishment. Something
Congratulations.
Something I wouldn't think I would ever done in my life. And so, everything I've done successfully, met my wife through football, my kids, sports. It's just been the centralized driving force that has kind of led me through my life. And so, it's taught me so much. It's what I try to share with my players. It's a unique game, and it just teaches you so much more than just to play a game. And it'll always be that to me, and that's the message I always try to share with my players.
Well, Coach Tirrell, I want to say thanks again for joining me live in the studio this morning. Best of luck tomorrow. It's a big matchup, and best of luck for you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it as always, and you have a great day today.
You too. Well, once again, thank you for listening to the head coach here at Dean College, Coach Tirrell, joining us live in studio. We'll be back in 1 minute to debrief the Red Sox season, as well as who could potentially challenge the Yankees in the playoffs. We'll listen live next here on Power 88. Welcome back here live on Power 88 Radio. Once again, Alex Feuz alongside George Hathaway, bringing you up until the 8 o'clock hour. This is a news segment that we're going to be doing every single Friday around this time. It's going to be the Golden Debates. How do you like that, George?
I like the name for it, yeah.
The Golden Debates. Today, George and I will be debating whether Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame or not. George, I don't know if you have any opinion. So, just a refresher. So, in 1989, Pete Rose, one of the all-time great baseball players, received a lifetime ban after an investigation that determined that he had bet on MLB games while manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes.
He has tried to get back into the game of baseball, but the commissioner has said no. Mm-hmm. He's been allowed to make a few appearances for the Cincinnati Reds for some going back to the Big Red Machine days of the Cincinnati Reds time to kind of commemorate the time in Cincinnati. But again, still has that lifetime ban. And I don't know about you. Do you feel like he should be in the Hall of Fame?
He should be in the Hall of Fame, but as a player, not as the manager. So if people are going to talk about Pete Rose going in the Hall of Fame, they should talk about his career as a player. And I mean, he had over 4,000 hits. I mean, a 303 batting average, 160 home runs. I mean, those are great numbers. And he played phenomenal. I mean, I never watched him live, of course, but I mean, I've seen videos, YouTube. I mean, YouTube's a great thing. So I mean, I've seen him on YouTube many times. I mean, even on the old baseball timely classic games. I mean, you see Pete Rose, and that's what a lot of people talk about. And I thought he was a great player overall. I mean, he did do a lot of things as a manager, though, that cost him his reputation for his career. But I mean, if the commissioner, if he retires or if somebody else steps up and takes over that role as commissioner, I think they should kind of leave that with the old commissioner and about the lifetime ban and kind of move forward and let him go in the Hall of Fame. Because I think each year when we talk about the Hall of Fame for the MLB, Pete Rose is the number one thing people want to know about. People don't care about, the other players who are, going in. They want to know, is Pete Rose going in? Is it this year that Pete Rose is going in? But no. And I think he should be. I think he deserves it as a player, not as the manager, though.
Yeah, in 1991, Rose accepted the lifetime ban, and the Hall of Fame decided that in 1991 that anyone on the permanently ineligible list could not appear on a Hall of Fame ballot. And you're seeing this now, and you kind of made a great point where I feel like if Pete Rose was inducted into the Hall of Fame, it would be a distraction to whoever else got inducted that year. So if they were going to make the exception and induct Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame, they would have to make it on a separate occasion because you don't want to take away from the other inductees of the Hall of Fame. I mean, we kind of saw it this year with Mariano Rivera being the first unanimous Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And yeah, that should have been if we knew it was going to be unanimous, he deserves it. Mariano Rivera's a great player. And it should be separated because it's going to take away, because this is an important moment for athletes across all the sports. If you're going in the Hall of Fame, that means you did something special to this sport that nobody else did. And that's why there's a certain group of people who get to go in each year. And if Pete Rose does get, voted, if he does get the right amount of votes, I don't know what the voting is for the MLB on who is it.
Basically, you have to get put on the list by the writers of baseball.
Okay.
The writers of baseball vote.
All right. So yeah, Pete Rose should definitely have his own little ceremony for himself because he doesn't. If I was a player and I was going to the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't want my moment of me going to the Hall of Fame after a great career to be kind of not ruined. I'm not gonna say the word ruined, but it's gonna be like a distraction because Pete Rose is going in, and I thought that was a great point that you brought up.
But a guy that has 4,256 hits and one of the best in baseball, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should.
At the end of the day, he should, and it's sickening that he's not. And look, it's kind of sad how it looks like it's going to end up. But let's be honest here. Once Pete Rose passes away and he's still not in the Hall of Fame, they're going to put him in.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing, though, is because he should be alive to receive this honor. It's an honor to go in the Hall of Fame, and he
right. Deserves it.
He deserves it. The stats don't lie. Look, if you're reading the numbers, they're phenomenal. You don't see that ever so often with a lot of MLB players, and he's 78. At least just give it to him because not give it to him out of pity, of course, but give it to him because he deserves it. And it will be sad because he won't be able to be here to receive it. His family would, but it's still something that he should be alive to see. And I don't think it's right by the MLB to say, all right, well, once he's dead, let's give it to him. That's not right, I don't think.
No, and especially where, again, he's one of the best in this game, and he didn't do steroids. No. Sure, in gambling now is legal. Right.
So I don't know what's wrong with. They say through the games, of course, but now it's legal. You can go. I can go down the street and do some sports betting, but I don't know. There's nothing wrong with what he did as a player, and I think that's what we should focus on. The MLB should focus on is let's put Pete Rose as a MLB player, not the manager.
Right, and I guess the argument is, well, if I'm a baseball player and I start betting on games because, well, Pete Rose did it, now he's in the Hall of Fame, I guess that's the reason why, where, well, he did it, now I can do it and still get into the Hall of Fame. And it's kind of the same thing where if you start putting players that use steroids into the Hall of Fame, then I can use steroids now and get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and that's what that's a great point, actually. I didn't really think of that before, but you're right. If you let one person do something and then another person wants to do it, but they, it's kind of like those sibling things, my brother did it, why can't I? Or, so it's a tough decision by the MLB. And each year when the Hall of Fame inductees come around, I think that's it's a big topic for the writers and for like the league itself to see, should Pete Rose deserve this honor?
Well, we'll turn it over to you guys. Make sure to tweet us or post it on Facebook in a comment. What do you think? Should Pete Rose be allowed into the Hall of Fame? George, I'm going to send it over to you for a quick traffic and weather update to close out the show. And then who's on next week's edition? We'll send it over to George, and then I'll let everyone know who's coming on next week.
All right, Alex. So the traffic update here is it's still heavy traffic heading towards Boston, in the Brockton area, heading into Canton and Norwood as well. And I mean, looking here in Mansfield, it's a little slow right now. I mean, there's a little bit of traffic here and there, but there's not too much on the I-95 route. And then looking at 495 in Franklin around here, nothing much. It's clear as can be, just like the sky is right now, actually. It's 51 degrees, going to be warmer later today at the high of 73, and then we look into the weekend where it's going to be 78 degrees. So great football weather and great, last minute barbecues, I guess you could say. And looking at the train traffic update here, looks like Worcester train is going to be a little bit late, as it's going to be delayed 10 to 15 minutes behind schedule, and then as well as the Framingham train is also delayed. And some service changes coming up soon is going to end October 27th. The Fitchburg line service is suspended in both directions due to, work. And there's going to be a free subway connection that will be provided for commuters. Looking at the...
Free subway? No, not that subway.
Not that kind of subway, Alex. No. I wish. But... some service changes coming up from September 7th to November 24th. The Franklin train service is replaced by free buses between Forge Park and 495, which is great for us Dean students because we are, a few blocks away from the T. And if we look at the Kingston-Plymouth line, there is going to be a pedestrian bridge that is still ongoing, which is causing some traffic around there. And that's it for the train, weather, and traffic update.
Well, thanks, George. And to finish out the show once again, this is the first full week of the show, and it's been a great, awesome week. We had Ken Rosenthal, Bob Ryan, Brian Campbell, Field Yates, and now Coach Steve Tirrell, also Dean Drucker joining us live in the studio this week. It's been a great week full of shows, and next week, oh boy, current MLB star Andrew McCutchen will be joining us live on the show. College football broadcaster Tim Brando will be on the show. Former MLB player and now current assistant to the commissioner, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the Major League Baseball, Billy Bean, will be joining us on the show next week, and more to come. So again, stay tuned for next week. We'll be back here live on Power 88 Radio Monday through Friday, and Wednesdays from 12 to 1, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. So again, we'll be back here live on Monday at 7 a.m. broadcasting live from Dean College. Well, I'll sign off for George. Once again, I'm Alex Feuz. Have a great rest of your day, and happy Chocolate Milk Day, everyone. Have a great day.
Patrice.